And we have breaking news. Former President Trump is no longer expected to take the stand today in the defamation case against him brought by writer E. Jean Carroll. Court has been adjourned after a juror reported feeling hot and nauseous. The judge sent him home for the day and told him to take a COVID test. Let's bring in senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky at the courthouse, ABC News executive editorial producer John Santucci, and ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer for more. John, what's the latest on what you're hearing about this delay?
Well, basically, go home, come back tomorrow is what the judge said in court, Diane. And the reality is that Donald Trump was there. He was seated at that defense table, ready to go. His lawyers were flagging him on both sides. But because that juror, who obviously you need all jurors present to hear testimony, said they weren't feeling well, the judge said, well, you got to come back tomorrow. Going to have to see what happens, because Donald Trump is really balancing out the political calendar and the legal calendar. Tomorrow, we do have that primary, as Rick was just walking you through. So really makes things extremely complicated right now.
So, Aaron, what's the reaction inside the court? How did this go down?
Well, there was a delay from starting court, Diane, and the rumors started to fly. A couple of people saw one of the court administrators go into the trial with a couple of COVID tests. It wasn't clear what was happening, and two things simultaneously occurred, Diane. A juror on his way to court informed the judge that he wasn't feeling well. He felt hot, he felt a little nauseous, and so the judge told that juror to go home and take a COVID test. Simultaneous to that, defense attorney Alina Habba said one or both of her parents had COVID. She was exposed to them at a dinner 3 days ago, along with her law partner, Michael Medeo. And even though they were in court, along with the former president, she was concerned about a potential exposure. So the judge called off the trial for the day, instructed everybody to go home and take COVID tests and report back. So we'll see if testimony resumes tomorrow. Problem with that is that former President Trump says he intends to testify, and Habba says, well, it's the New Hampshire primary, so she asked for a delay in Trump's testimony until Wednesday. So the court calendar is really up in the air.
So, Brian, what now, and what's at stake for Trump in this case, especially if he does testify?
Right now, it's make sure everyone's healthy. We're going to hopefully get some results as to whether they're positive or negative for COVID, if this is a flu or something else. For the juror, ultimately, you can excuse that juror and replace them with an alternate. But for one of the defense attorneys, it's probably a lot more important there. Not that jurors aren't important, but you need to make sure the defense attorney's there and there's no alternates there. What's at stake for Trump is the dollar amount in which he could potentially lose here. Ultimately, if he does take the stand, I think his better route, and we kind of talked about this off air, is to talk about damages and not go after I never sexually abused her, because that ship has long sailed.
Now, the judge said he's not allowed to argue that. So we've seen Trump say things in court that he's technically not allowed to say in the past. So what happens if he does get on the stand and he still does try to say that?
Let me put it this way. If a person, so theoretically Donald Trump, does go against the judge's orders, that's considered contempt of court. You can be technically held in jail for a period of time. I've seen judges even hold defendants, or even sometimes defense attorneys, in the back holding cell areas for a couple of hours, kind of like a timeout, so to speak, and then they get brought in. But Donald Trump seems to have everything balanced off of him. So maybe we'll see the same thing in other proceedings where he testifies, goes off the rails, and they just say, sit down, we're done with you.
All right, Aaron Katersky, John Santucci, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you all. And we will have updates on Trump's court appearance throughout the morning right here on ABC News Live as we learn more about how this case is now going to play out.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.